This video is brought to you by Big Owl Lubricants.
I use Big Owl lubricants in Furious. You should too. Your race car deserves Big Owl. Go big. Go Big Owl. Okay, Furious fans, so finally back out here working on this car. This transmission is the one that was in the car when I got it, and the passing gear was hooked up, or the throttle kickdown linkage, what are you gonna call it? And the guy told me it had a manual valve body in it, and it acted like it had a manual valve body in it. It shifted hard when I shifted, and it's whatever RPM. I could turn it all the way to 55, and it shifted as soon as I hit it. So I disconnected all this linkage because you don't normally, like a turbo action valve body, you don't need that. The governor is set up to not need that. It's full-time, pressure. Well, when I did that, that's what burned up the transmission. At least that's what the transmission guy's telling me. So he's telling me to put this back together, but instead of running the rod up to the carburetor, just hook it back to the back and run it at 2/3. He said try it at 2/3. If that's not shifting hard enough, you can open it up even further. See how that does? So we're going to run a bracket off the back of the tail shaft housing here and thread this rod, or we can adjust this thing a few turns to get the pressure like we want. So that's what we're doing today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the correct die here that fits these threads. I'm just going to put more threads all the way down to get it where we need it to be, and probably cut off the excess that we don't need. I have plenty of adjustment on it, but I'm going to cut off for weight purposes. I'm going to cut off what we don't need. So that's the next step here. Okay guys, I got the that rod cut down, and I just cut it off to shorten it. And what I did, I left the die on it because when I cut it, it left a jagged edge, and I just ran the die back down it. It was easier to do that than trying to rethread it back on. And I took my file and just filed down the sharp edges. And so now the nut, the stainless steel nuts right here, will go on it, and it will look like a champ. I'll show you here in just a second. Okay guys, I got everything painted and cleaned except for this one nut. I forgot to do it, and the heck with it. Got this piece mounted, and we'll put it together here. You'll see in just a second. Okay, so there you have it. So I got this piece, I got a washer up under here with like a carburetor pin clip type thing, and got a jam nut on each side of this, the bracket going to the tail shaft housing. So I can adjust, I loosen this up, I can adjust it either direction. If I need to tighten it up a little bit more. I didn't leave myself a lot of room if I need to loosen it up though, did I? Might have cut that a bit too short. But I think we're okay. I think it should be adjusted. I don't have it at full, but it's pretty close. Alright folks, there you have it. Throttle lever adjustment, race transmission. Okay guys, I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, the transmission for Furious is back in. And I got a chain up front holding the bell housing up. It's not leaning a little bit to one side. I didn't get a chain directly in the center. There's no bell housing bolted to dead center. So, but that was just to hold it up so I can get the transmission jack out of the way. Now the transmission guy told me that there's some kind of bushing in the back of the shaft here that keeps getting beaten. This is the second time he's been in it, and he said the first time it was beaten to death. He said it had damaged the shaft. It had beaten it up so bad he had to put a new shaft in it. So he said this time we only had 19 or 20 passes. He said it was already showing that something was beating on it. He thinks the drive shaft is too long. And there's the drive shaft right there, and you can see by the, let me get this flashlight turned a little bit better, but you can see where it's been riding. There's plenty of room for it to move forward. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick it in static without hooking it to the rear end, and just see how far I can push it up in there. And with it bolted to the rear end, the U-joint, it'll go about right here. So I don't know what's going on that's causing what he's saying, other than maybe cutting 1/4 of an inch off the end of the drive shaft, off the yoke here. I don't know what else we can do. Anyhow, let me stick it in there and see if I can get it to bottom out, see what's happening. Okay, that's with the yoke in place at the differential. And I didn't bring my tape measure, but that looks like close to 2 inches, which you would think would be enough, but it all depends on how long the yoke goes up in here. So let's disconnect it and see how far we can push it up in. And that's with the yoke disconnected at the rear end and the drive shaft pushed all the way forward. It bottoms out, but it doesn't sound like it's hitting anything in the transmission. But it must be, because it doesn't go any further past here, so it's got to be hitting something up in there. So he may be onto something. There may be something. I need to shorten that yoke a little bit. Okay, guys, I had to abandon my plan of running the rod back to here because of this hump right here. The rod that I had that came out was way out here and was hitting the transmission tunnel. And I thought about shortening it, but even if I shortened it, it would have been really difficult to get in there and adjust it. So I ended up putting the L bracket off of this ear here. I don't think I need that ear for anything. Kind of like Tyson. I want to call it my Tyson ear, or maybe my Holyfield ear, but it wasn't doing anything, so I didn't want to bite it off. So I put a little L bracket here, and now I can adjust this a little easy. At least I think I can. We'll find out when we get the headers, and I'm sure the headers will be coming right through here. Probably right in the way, so I'm not redoing this again, but I'm running out of options. So hopefully I can make this work. Okay, guys, I'm gonna call it a day. It's right after 6 o'clock. I'm getting hungry. Go inside and make me something to eat, and got a lot done today. Got the transmission in. I think I got the shift that linkage piece for the pressure on the shifter. What do you call it? The governor. I think I got that situated out. Discovered a drive shaft. The transmission guy must be right. Tomorrow I'll swap out the yokes on those drive shafts, put the shorter yoke in. And we got a fender over here we can do a little body work on. I'm going to start sanding it down and spread a little bit of mud and fiberglass, whatever, get it looking nice. And we'll get these things out of the way, then we can start on this engine. We've got pollen I'm dealing with right now. That's one reason why I don't want to start on this engine. The pollen is everywhere. See it right here? And I kind of want everything to be clean. So we'll do some body work and swap out the yokes tomorrow and see how far we get with that. All right, that's going to end this video. Y'all have a good day, and I appreciate you supporting the channel. Appreciate you supporting Furious. And we're going to get this thing on the track soon.